I want to tell y'all a hunting story about last year. I really wasn't even expecting to see a deer that day. I was just coming over here to get the memory card out of the trail camera. We're on top of a hill, and on each side's a creek bottom. It's perfect deer environment. A lot of oaks, pin oaks, red oaks, water oaks. Deer love them acorns. That's one reason why we put a deer feeder up, is because the deer, they're hard to hunt out here. And a lot of people compare this, they don't like hunting in East Texas. They'd rather go out to West Texas where they just set up a feeder or have it set up for them, and they just get in their stand, and whenever the herd of deer come out, they just pick one and shoot it. To me, that's really not hunting. That's more of just going to a meat market. Last year, come on over here, Kristen. There's a four-wheeler trail back to my right. Well, instead of taking a four-wheeler, I decided to walk up it. And so I got on the other side of the hill. As I got to the top, I slowed down. All I had was my fanny pack and my rifle. It was like around 5:15, 5:20 in the evening. It was getting dark here around 5:25, and so it was almost dark. Straighten the camera up, honey. Looks like it's crooked. And I eased around here. Had my rifle ready. I was carrying a Weatherby 270 bolt action. And I got right about here, and there's the feeder right down there. Can you see it? And you could see it better in the wintertime because a lot of this grass was dead. There was a big buck, had his head down, pointing away from me, eating. So I eased over here, and I knelt down. And I brought that 270 up. I scoped him, made sure he was big enough to shoot, that he was a good-sized deer, and I hit him. I knocked the deer down. He got back up. I stood up. And this deer started running straight at me. So I chambered another round, getting ready to shoot the charging deer again. I didn't know what his problem was. Deer don't usually charge people whenever they've been shot. And about 40 feet from me, he turns and runs into the woods. Well, I didn't know it till later, but that's where their trail is at. He was just trying to find his way back home. I made a big mistake at this point. By this time, it's almost dark. Look over here. All that, nothing but brush. Instead of going to where I shot the deer at and finding the blood trail, hold the camera a little bit steadier, honey. Instead of going to where I shot the deer at and trying to find the blood trail, I went in that direction where I thought I heard the deer last. That was a mistake. I waited about 5 or 10 minutes, made sure that you give it its death time. You give it time to bleed out for it to die. By this time it was dark, right at dark. I'm out here by myself. I've got a wounded deer in the brush. I pull out my flashlight. All I carry is LED flashlights. Pull out my flashlight, and then it's my choice. Here's my choice. Either go in and try to find the wounded animal, or go for help. And this is what makes the real hunters away from the wannabe hunters. Because I consider myself a hunter. So I went in there after that deer. And went that way where I thought I heard the deer last. Couldn't find it. Made my way all the way to the creek bottom. Couldn't find anything. After about 15-20 minutes worth of looking, I decided, well, I'm going to go up and go to the feeder, see if I even really hit it. What I was looking for was blood trail. How much blood splatter was on the ground? I went to the feeder. Went to where the deer was standing. There was this huge blood spray. Okay, good. There's not a big that means the bullet went through. There was an exit wound. I start following the blood trail. Every 8 feet or so was a spurt of blood, a spray of blood. That means that I hit a major artery. I track the deer up, where it turned into the woods. I follow it, and I find it about 150, 200 feet from where I shot it at. So if you're out hunting, you shoot the deer, you see the deer run off, don't go to where you think the deer's at. While you're giving the deer its time to bleed out for it to die, go to where you shot it at. What color is the blood? Black or red? Are there any bone fragments? Is there any soft tissue? Whenever you shoot the deer through the lungs, which is where I like to shoot mine at, there will be pieces of lung fragment on the ground from the exit wound. Not all the time, but sometimes. So that gives you an idea. Did you gut shot it? Is there any feces on the ground? Then you start tracking the blood. Give the deer a few minutes that if you've made a major shot for it to die, for it to bleed out. During World War I, the Army took some of the deserters, lined them up and they shot them, just like they should deserters. Then they timed it. How long can a person live with a bullet wound through the heart? Some people live 30 seconds. Now you calculate how far can a deer run in that 30 seconds. Say 200 feet. So even if you shoot it through the heart, it still can run 150, 200 feet, but not always. Okay, well, let's pack up and go home.
Bye.
Bye.